Namaskar, Mabuhay. Welcome back to Soul Yatra Unfolds. Considering that we have the International Yoga Day coming on 21st June, I thought why don't we share some insights in that area. While yoga is very common, everybody knows about it. I mean, lots of people practice. But what I thought important could be for me to share how scientific it is, how does it work in our body. And sometimes you wonder, how could you cure a disease like a PCOD or something like an arthritis with yoga? It sometimes doesn't sound convincing. And so that's the intention of this series of videos, where we'll demonstrate some video postures, some pranayams, how breathing is intertwined with yoga, how it can help us maintain our body healthy, our mind healthy, and us as a human being in totality healthy. Let me first share some basic insights about yoga, and then we'll move on to specific analysis of its influence on our physical body, on our etheric body, on our nervous system, and on our spiritual body. So to begin with, the word yoga comes from the root word yuj. Yuj means to unite. And what does it want us to unite with? So it means unity of my consciousness with the universal consciousness. So how do we fall into the cosmic rhythm, considering that we are a microcosm of the macrocosm, and then blend with the natural energy, the natural forces of this universe to keep us healthy, not just physically here. Even while we age, can our soul, mind remain young? And when I say young, it doesn't mean young from the sense of being youthful, but basically young in terms of being healthy. So basically it is to tell us, yoga is here to help us, that by count, we may age. By years, we may become 30, 40, 50, 60, but can our etheric body remain young? Can our organs continue to behave as young as they behaved when we were 10, 15, 20? Purely from the fact that it will protect us from attracting any kind of diseases, any ailments, and we don't have to live on maintenance medicines from a very early age of our life. One day we all have to go, but can we go as healthy as we can? Can we remain on our two legs, walking fit and fine till we breathe the last? So here are some insights on how yoga works. First of all, to understand that, let me give you a quick introduction of how we identify a human body. When we breathe in, the air what we take in, it goes and it just doesn't go randomly and fills our lungs and goes out. This air has been planned in a manner where there is a structure, there's a design. It goes through 72,000 nadis, that means hollow air channels. Just like we've got our arteries and veins, there is a flow of air designed within. When this enters through our nostrils, they go to certain junctions from where they are released to flow in a certain pattern. This definition is called Panch Pran of our body. Panch means 5, Prana means life force. So when the air enters our body, first portion of that air is supposed to go low waist, go to our anal area, root chakra, and then circulate clockwise and supposed to only flow downside. So takes care of our lower part of the body. The portion of air above that is supposed to flow circular, which is called the Samana Vayu, which takes care of all your organs around your Manipur or solar plexus. It nourishes all our digestive organs. Above that is called the Pran Vayu, the air which takes care of our lungs, liver and heart. The movement is out and in, out and in. And above that is called Udana Vayu. Udan Vayu is supposed to be defying gravitation, and it only stays around from the throat area until your head, nourishing our brain, nourishing our mouth, internal organs around the face area, our speech, our hearing ability, everything got to do with this area. The fifth one is called the Vyana Vayu. Vyana Vayu is the repository in the body of life force. In a corporate organization, I would call it the human resources, which jumps in wherever help is required. So Vyana Vayu rises to support when one of your other Vayus fail. So it's a reservoir in your body. from a physical structure perspective, we say we've got 5 sheets, 5 layers. The external most is the Annamaya Kosh, the cellular body. Behind that is the Pranamaya Kosh, the energy body, where all this 72,000 nadis flow. Beyond that is called the Manomaya Kosh, the mind, where everything is coded in our mind. You know, what we see, we perceive in that mind. That mind doesn't decide good or bad, it just codes it. So the neuro-linguistic programming, what we say, happens there. After that, beyond that, when you enter, we have the intellectual body, the Vijnanmaya Kosh, which is the intelligent body, the spiritually elevated body, which if we have been able to penetrate through that, we begin to live in higher consciousness. Our ability to discern between right and wrong is very strong. And beyond that is the soul, which is enveloped with the bliss body, which we call the Anandamaya Kosh. Why did I say this? Because unlike a gym exercise, or a physical drill, a PT, physical training, where everything is focused on your external body, yoga is something where it penetrates right until your bliss body. Every inhalation, exhalation, blended with certain postures like front bend, back bend, helps it to penetrate until the innermost core of our body. So all breathing exercises fix any irregularities in our prana movement. So if your apana vayu is, for example, been going up instead of down, it causes digestion issues, it causes migraine, it causes a whole bunch of issues. Breathing with certain postures will make sure that bloating or unwanted air is released and it is regulated to the rhythm and cycle it is designed to be in. Similarly, when we are doing a physical exercise, it's addressing the muscles, the tissues, my Annamaya Kosh, the cellular body. But because if we do it in combination with breathing, it then begins to penetrate my energy body, which is the Pranamaya Kosh, which ultimately helps us to easily pave our way toward our mind, where we reach the state of meditation. So if you see, when we do yoga and pranayama, after that you're always advised to take Shavasana. Shavasana means just lie like still dead and focus on your mind. So you eventually go there. The moment you've gone there, your journey to your inward automatically happens after that. Nobody can stop you. And that's it. That is why yoga is called the union of your consciousness with the universal consciousness. It blends us into one to make us better human beings. Not just being physically healthy, but our mind, our soul, until our soul it penetrates, to help us become a good human being. So this was the historical part of it. Now let's come to normal, mere human, mortal human body. We all know how important spine is for our body. Our life is based on our physical movements, and all movements are based on nerves, and all these nerves, when they narrow down from the head, from the cranial, and they flow down, they all come down through the spinal cord. So that's how important a spinal cord is, because your entire body movement is based on the nerves flowing between that. How does the spine work? So the spine acts as the body's central axis, supporting the trunk and the body, and while that weight is transferred to the lower limbs, it continues to support us from the base of the spine. The vertebrae, the intervertebral discs and the ligaments, they all work together. And that togetherness gives us the flexibility and the resilient structure. The spinal canal actually protects the core inside of the spinal cord, as that is the vital pathway for nerves between the brain and the entire body. And the brain carries information through sensory nerves, so it carries commands, and that is how all our muscles and tissues in the body work, purely based on the commands from the brain, and which is all transmitted through these nerves within the spinal cord. Now, the spine has discs. If you all have seen in MRIs and X-rays, there are discs, and sometimes people say they had a slip disc, their disc thickened or the gap between two discs increased, and it causes a lot of pain and discomfort. So it's a series of discs throughout the spine, and the spine is divided into 3 major areas: the lumbar, the cervical and the thoracic spine. In the spine, there's something called annulus fibrosus and the nucleus pulposus. These act as shock absorbers between the vertebrae. This is a combination of liquid and thick tissue-based rings outside that. They have the ability to stretch and then to go back. So they have the tenacity, they stretch, and they also absorb any kind of shocks because of the movements, what happens in our body while we bend, while we jump, or even while flow of the spinal fluid within that. Now, how do these things, what I mentioned, how can they remain healthy? There's no tablet for them, right? You can't eat something to fix them. The best way to keep them healthy, young, and as they are throughout your life is through certain exercises of the spine. But important is that these exercises are also blended with breathing and slow exercises so that it does not damage it. And that is where yoga comes to play, because yoga is always designed to be very comfortable. It's slow, it partners with breathing, but at the same time, it can cause so much of sweating. You would be surprised that if you thought that it's only when you run or in a gym, you sweat a lot or you have helped your muscles a lot. But if you actually had to sit and do just 5 sets of Surya Namaskar, trust me, you would be setting more than what you would have done in 30 to 40 minutes in the gym. And why did I mention Surya Namaskar? Because this is one yoga posture which purely focuses on spine health. And along with spine health, it partners to focus on all the organs parallel to the spine in the body, and all our 5 pranas, what we mentioned, and all the 7 chakras, what we have in the body. So it is a complete posture. It is a posture which encompasses 12 postures, and it penetrates to this level of these shock absorbers in the spine, the vertebrae, the interspace, the disc. It actually can help all of them remain as intact as they are supposed to be. And how does that happen? Because the breathing, breathing plays such an important role. Imagine you could eat as much as you want, but if you didn't get air and you would die, right? None of your organs would survive. So likewise, you can stay without food for many days, but you can't stay without breathing. And yoga forces you to breathe in more than usual, or at least get your lung capacity to its optimum. And with its movement of air, it actually nourishes every tissue, every cell, and every part of your body. So it makes sure that there's right blood flow, delivering oxygen and nutrients to the spinal discs, which no other exercises can help you do. Maintain that. I hope you enjoyed the entire session. Please like, subscribe, and share. As always, thank you.